Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and these are the things that I learned with Wings.Iceice Enigma at TI6. Enigma and AoE ult heroes in general are usually very strong against Weaver, IO, and AM, which are heroes that rely on their mobility to survive, and that's probably the reason why they went with this very unusual draft, at least compared to what other teams were doing at the same time. Also, the fact that EG had an AM meant that Wings could be more greedy in their picks and rely on the fact that the AM power spike starts after the Enigma was able to farm his initial kit. With the changes to the ranged creep experience, it is now more valuable than ever to deny the ranged creep. But he doesn't do it. One of my theories is that the Sand King can double wave the Timbersaw very fast with Caustic Finale, so it would mean that the Timber would hatch less hit under the tower at level 1 and take unnecessary damage, which Wings wanted to avoid, so he doesn't do it. If you're not used to Enigma, against camps like the Centaur and the Tomato camp, you always want to draw aggro first and then use your Eidolons, because it avoids them taking too much damage early since they are very weak at the early levels. Also, getting used to keep all of the Eidolons alive is something a lot of people undervalue, and we can see he takes good care of his babies. You usually can stack the medium camp with Midnight Pulse like he does here, but at the early Eidolon levels it's pretty hard to micro them against so many creeps, and a lot of the time you actually farm faster by just killing the single camp. Breaking the trees early on help a lot with your farming speed, since you waste less time going around the trees. To be completely honest, at level 1 it's better to draw aggro every time if you're fighting a large camp, since losing an Eidolon at the early levels is a way bigger deal than later on. When contested, a lot of people just try to keep farming and see what the enemy is going to do. But since Iceice has a lot of vision of different heroes in the map, he's not afraid to zone the IO, which is a fairly weak hero at level 1, out of the experience range of the camps while Eidolons farm them. Your early experience bonus is very strong and you shouldn't share it with enemies unless it's completely impossible to contest the hero. Zai keeps annoying him, but he just stands his ground.
First being able to find the farm, 10 for 0, actually slightly ahead of Faith Beyond as well, so we are going to see at least...
Another important point to highlight is how he farms these ogres. Not only he uses the Eidolon skill on the Brawl ones, which have more HP, so it's faster to farm the other two, and see where he's standing, it's not an optimal point to farm since he loses vision of the creeps, but it gives vision of both of the gank routes to that location, so it's way safer to farm like this. And even while farming like that, he makes a stack. But Zai is there to contest it, and eventually the Sand King kills the Enigma.
Game in this earlier stage, in this mid lane, and go out. So now back into the jungle. Someone's actually going to come across for a rotation. They're looking for Iceice, and this could certainly look like a first blood potential with a burrow strike. Zai coming around from the sidelines. Iceice trying to run himself away, but Someone...
Check how hard it is to deal with stacks with level 2 Eidolons. It was already hard, and after the change in attack types, I feel like it got even harder. He gets the stack, even if ever so slowly.
And the Enigma is incredibly important, especially as someone that's supposed to be your mech carrier. Like if Titan's going to go Arcanes and maybe for a Hood instead and leave the mech for the Enigma, then it's absolutely critical that Iceice does well.
It's going to be very interesting to see as well.
And a cool little thing he does here is popping the Soul Ring before actually having the cooldown on Eidolons, only to increase his mana efficiency. Enigma, unlike a lot of people think, it's pretty good before level 6. He does a lot of damage with Midnight Pulse and level 1 Malefice, and level 1 Malefice was buffed. Also, you can't undervalue the strength of 6 Eidolons hitting low level heroes. But against the Sand King it ends up not being enough and he just disengages.
Him, but not quite enough to kill him. I mean, Samael, he's got a burst strike in a couple of seconds. He was thinking about it, but in fact, he may be punished for this one. Why? And Iceice with the response, besides that, healing Samael up.
Something I realized is that Iceice rarely uses the Eidolon on the last creep of a camp. Usually he likes to auto-attack it, and the time you actually lose by not attacking with them. Even after the move speed buff on the Eidolons, they are very slow, and you lose efficiency if you use the skill on a creep with low HP and in a camp with no more creeps. And check this out. Iceice waits until the tide goes top. They smoke and he does something pretty cool. He tries to get closer to the AM by using Midnight Pulse through the trees. But unfortunately Fierce positioning was way too good and he just disengages.
We'll be very happy if they can get cutting down the trees with the Midnight Pulse, closing in onto Fear. He's going to blink away and looks like Wings, they can't close the gap on this, so a little bit of an...
That doesn't stop the raid and push though. Enigma is often seen as this blink dagger ganker and teamfight force, but Eidolons and Midnight Pulse are very strong and have way lower cooldown than Black Hole, so you can't undervalue the strength of an Enigma push in the early game. Also check how he attacks the creeps rather than the tower. You don't get extra Eidolons by attacking buildings, but you do if you either hit enemy creeps or deny creeps of your own. And even though you lose a little bit of DPS on the tower early on, the extra Eidolons help you push further even faster. And that's one of the biggest strengths of Enigma. Even if you don't get a kill with a smoke rotation, if the enemy team doesn't have a lot of counter push, which was the case here, you just take the tower for yourself. Check how Wings doesn't take the foot off the pedal. Iceice sent his remaining Eidolons in the tower, and even without mech, they keep pushing against AG. IO doesn't have relocate, and AM is ways away of being able to fight reliably, so even though Wings' power spike, which is mech on Enigma and blink on Titan, is not online, they know they can force some towers because of the way EG's team works. And check this beautiful play from Wings. They bait EG really well. The Tide was hiding and he cuts a tree to get range for the Ravage, and since Sand King is a strength hero, he gets exploded by the Timber Soul even though the Sand King was top of the net worth at that time. And knowing that they could force that tower actually gives the mech faster to the Enigma in comparison if he just AFK'd farmed, as well as it gives them another possible fight scenario since they will have mech off, cooldown, and Black Hole wasn't even used the entire game. But they force as much as possible and they just back off for a bit. After some time he gets ganked by EG, even though he was pretty well positioned.
Some out there to initiate with the bow, coming down.
And this is the best way for EG to abuse Wings draft. They are indeed pretty scary when they push as 5. Not only EG is not ready to fight 5 vs 5, but they are not the best high ground defenders with the exception of the Sand King. But when Wings is waiting for a cooldown like Ravage to push again and they split to keep farming, they are easy prey for heroes like Sand King, AM and IO now that he has relocate. And with Ravage ready, what Wings want to do is push. A lot of people fall prey to the Enigma needs Blink Dagger fallacy to fight, or BKB, when in reality they forget how much only the threat of the Black Hole is strong, especially when they have two very strong frontliners like the Tide, Timbersaw, and even Razor to allow the Enigma to find a good Black Hole without Blink, and that allows him to get an early mech and abuse even more the weaknesses in EG's early game since they can keep pushing. Since he doesn't see the Sand King, check how he uses the Eidolon on his own creeps. It's nighttime and EG knows that sniping Enigma before he pops his mech in a teamfight is probably the best thing for them, so he definitely don't want to show up so in front only to use the Eidolon on the enemy creeps. And check his positioning. They just take the tower and back. Easy golden map control for Wings with no trades. But EG wants a trade, so they go after the Rubik since the Tide Hunter TP top, and check this, the Enigma gets a very good Black Hole through the fog. Even though the Sand King blinks right on time, they burst the Weaver before she pops her ult, and not only that, but the IO ends up trying to save her and wasting his ult as well. The Enigma does fall, but they take the AM and the Weaver, a pretty good trade overall. To me, this was one of the big reasons why Wings was able to win the game. They were able to get good trades without overcommitting their spells. One of the weaknesses of these very cooldown reliant drafts is the downtime of the skills, and during these 14 minutes, they always seem to have one of the two ready. While in pubs, it's very easy to see both spells committed suboptimally. Hey guys, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this replay breakdown, please check the link in the description. I can't overstate how this video would never be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so please show them some love. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this almost every day, and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. Bye guys. Or spike, in my opinion. If you want to go Midas, you have to at least get Boots in the early game. He has 420 move speed with it, and it completely discourages the Pug from last hitting close to him, and at level 5 he gets a solo kill. Check how by getting the third point in Thirst, he can dive the Pug and have enough damage to kill him without even popping the Blood Rage. A lot of people would actually pop the Blood Rage before diving, and while it gives you more damage, it also increases the chances he dies if someone is hidden in the trees, for instance, or if he just gets juked a lot. Check how he